Hey guys, before this video starts, I just wanted to do a quick disclaimer and a quick trigger warning saying that this video mentions the topics of sexual assault and harassment. In the description, I've left resources, charities, and educational assets on these topics, and viewer discretion is advised. What's going on, guys? It's Tom, or Talk to Me Wrestling, and today we're going to be discussing the rise and fall of one of the most controversial wrestlers in recent history, a wrestler who has faced controversy for an array of reasons. We are talking, of course, about Joey Ryan, and I should say that this video is in chronological order. It is a history of his career, but at the start of this video, I only feel it's right that I do address that we will be discussing the allegations made about him in this video. I should address that right from the start. We'll be discussing those allegations towards the end of the video as they are more recent. Before we go any further, I would like to thank my Patreon supporters, Marky D, Alan Barkley, Efran Martin, Gravedigger33, Jonathan Thompson, Cedric Cowan, NX Gamer, First Phil, Jackery Williams, Josh Nolan, and Steve Wingfield. If you guys want to see more exclusive content from me, as well as get other perks, check out my Patreon, links down below. It would really help me during these trying times, and would be very much appreciated. But let's just begin this video already.
Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you are watching Top 10 Wrestling. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
Joey Ryan first started out his wrestling career in February 2000 in the Empire Wrestling Federation in Southern California. In Joey Ryan's early years, he became a regular at many Southern California promotions such as EWF as mentioned, UPW, and Revolution Pro Wrestling, wrestling the likes of Super Dragon, Sara Del Rey, Kazarian, and Brian Kendrick. Joey Ryan was really starting to make a name for himself in the SoCal wrestling scene, and his stock would go even higher when after just 3 years of wrestling, he would become the founder of a promotion. In 2003, Joey Ryan, Top Gun Talwar, Scott Lost, Super Dragon, Disco Machine, and Excalibur founded the Southern Californian wrestling promotion Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, otherwise known as PWG. These six collectively became known as the PWG6, and this promotion was formed after the six of them grew tired of arguing with promoters and felt that they could book a show better than most promoters could. The very first PWG show saw AJ Styles and Samoa Joe face off for the first time in the main event, and by the end of 2003, they were voted as the best promotion by SoCal Uncensored, despite only running 6 shows, which is testament to how strong the shows were. We're not going to talk too much about the history of PWG because I might do a video on them in the future if that's something you guys want to see. Let me know in the comments if you guys want to see a video on the rise and fall / history of Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Comment down below. Joey Ryan would continue to wrestle on and off for PWG for the next 10 years, including winning the PWG World Championship in 2005, becoming a 4-time PWG Tag Champion, and winning the Battle of Los Angeles tournament in 2010, which, if you don't know, the Battle of Los Angeles is a very prestigious indie wrestling tournament that takes place in PWG, and he won it in 2010 while also wrestling in other companies all around the country. From 2006 to 2007, he would make it onto TV when he wrestled in MTV's Wrestling Society X, a promotion that one day I will for sure be making a video on. But if you don't know what Wrestling Society X was, it was a short-lived promotion ran by MTV that used cinematics and special effects, with many wrestlers such as Seth Rollins, Evan Bourne, and even New Jack wrestled there. He began regularly working for the National Wrestling Alliance, or the NWA, in 2006 and made appearances for the company until 2012, where he was a one-time tag team champion with Carl Anderson of all people. Joey Ryan was basically all around the shop in the American Indies. As well as everything I've already mentioned, he also made appearances for Ring of Honor, Combat Zone Wrestling, Revolution Pro Wrestling, Chikara, Extreme Pro Wrestling, IWA Mid-South, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, and even Juggalo Championship Wrestling, the promotion founded and owned by the Insane Clown Posse. He even made a couple of appearances as local talent in the WWE, basically getting squashed every time he went there. And of course, while he was doing all this, he was still doing a bunch of stuff in PWG. But not only was he wrestling in America, but he was wrestling in India too. Joey Ryan started making appearances for Ring Ka King, an Indian promotion endorsed by Jeff Jarrett and backed by Total Nonstop Action, aka TNA, the promotion we all know and love. Following his appearances for Ring Ka King, Dave Lagana, who worked for TNA and used to work for Ring of Honor and Championship Wrestling from Hollywood when Joey Ryan was there, introduced Joey Ryan to TNA executives and tried to get him involved in TNA. And in 2012, Joey Ryan would then make an appearance for TNA as part of Gut Check, a competition between wrestlers to try and get signed by TNA. And though he lost the Gut Check challenge, he would still get signed by TNA and make appearances for them. After years and years of wrestling all across America, Joey Ryan seemed like he was finally getting his big break and finally wrestling somewhere mainstream. While in TNA, he would wrestle in the X Division, even challenging X Division champion Rob Van Dam at that year's Turning Point pay-per-view, and also team with Matt Morgan, challenging for the TNA tag titles on pay-per-view that year, both unsuccessfully though. Joey Ryan would never have any title success in TNA, and he wrestled his final match for TNA at Lockdown 2013, losing to Joseph Parks inside the steel cage, and he was released in May of 2013, about a year after his first TNA appearance. Following his release from TNA, he would make his return to PWG and the Indies. It was soon after that Joey Ryan would form his popular tag team with Candice LeRae, the world's cutest tag team, which was their name. This team became very popular in PWG, and it was at PWG 11, one of the best PWG events of all time in 2014, when he and Candice defeated the Young Bucks in a guerrilla warfare match in one of the best all-time matches in PWG's history to become the new PWG Tag Champions, which they would hold for just under a year. The next year, Joey would travel to Japan for a DDT show, and during this show, a spot would take place with Joey and another DDT wrestler, where Joey essentially uses his penis to suplex and flip over another wrestler. After this took place, the video of it went viral all across the internet, and Joey Ryan would be featured on the New York Times, Rolling Stone, Vice, among other publications. It was after this that Joey Ryan just decided, hey, screw it, I'm gonna run with this, and turned this into his entire gimmick basically. His new gimmick was basically built around his dick. There was the sunglasses, there was the lollipops, etc, etc, as well as many other moves in his moveset. This gimmick, as we all know, was very polarizing and split opinions within wrestling. On one hand, many fans and wrestling personalities alike thought it was a joke and a disgrace to the business, most notably Jim Cornette, who was one of Joey Ryan's biggest detractors. But at the same time, it was popular among fans. Joey Ryan had a cult fan base, and even so, many people who weren't fans of Joey Ryan defended the gimmick under the pretense that it was comedy wrestling, and that comedy wrestling has a place in the wrestling business, myself included, regrettably. Joey would continue using this gimmick all over the world in every promotion he wrestled in, other than Lucha Underground, where he also made it back onto TV, where he wrestled under the gimmick of a cop. He would soon start his own promotion once again, called Bar Wrestling in LA, basically a promotion for fans to come in and get drunk while watching wrestling. He would become a regular and a popular attraction at wrestling conventions, and would often wrestle for numerous promotions during WrestleMania weekend. In 2018, Joey Ryan would make an appearance at All In, and in 2019, it seemed as though AEW and WWE were in the middle of a bidding war for him. However, he chose to stay on the indies and stay independent, continuing to run Bar Wrestling. However, he would also return to Impact, returning at Bound for Glory 2019 under the same gimmick he was using on the indies. He would sign with them, but shortly after he would start a new gimmick, renaming himself to Joseph P. Ryan and forming a stable with RVD, Katie Forbes and others called Cancel Culture, essentially just a 2020 version of Right to Censor. The group was actually starting to pick up steam with new members being recruited. However, in June 2020, Joey Ryan's career would come crashing down. In June 2020, several wrestlers began speaking out about abuse and sexual misconduct they had experienced within the wrestling industry in what was titled as the Speaking Out Movement, with Joey Ryan notably being someone who was accused. Now, Joey Ryan was notable due to the fact that dozens and dozens of people made allegations of sexual assault and harassment against him. He was easily the person with the most accusations against him. Joey Ryan stayed silent throughout this all, as many women came forward with their stories and allegations about him, and other wrestlers who used to work closely with Joey confirmed these stories as true. Shortly after, Joey Ryan was fired from Impact Wrestling, with the cancel culture stable being cancelled, ironically, and his promotion Bar Wrestling was reportedly shut down too shortly after. After weeks of silence, Joey Ryan would return with an hour-long YouTube video where he attempted to disprove over 18 allegations made against him. But at this point, it's safe to say that for the most part, Joey Ryan's wrestling career is over. I just can't see any credible wrestling promotion wanting to book him after these allegations. Especially, in this whole COVID era, why would you want to do that to yourself? That's basically where we're up to now, and this was the rise and fall of Joey Ryan, and what a fall it was. Like I said at the start of the video, guys, very top links in the description, links to charities, resources, and educational assets, all revolving around the topic of sexual assault and harassment, if you guys would like to see those. And yeah, that's it for this video, guys. You can check me out on all my social medias, link in the description, and my Patreon. I'll see you all soon as I raise my left middle finger and my right middle finger to Joey Ryan. Joey Ryan, if you're watching this, suck your mum.